Hello, fans, and welcome to This Day in Baseball, where we're going to bring you a full radio broadcast of today's game. And before we do that, I just want to thank Classic Baseball Radio, and there's a link in the notes where you can check out their full channel. They have many great radio broadcasts. And while you're listening to today's game, if you want to check out much more about the game and the players, look on the links below, and you're going to see links to player pages, the date the game happened, the year it happened, and the play-by-play. Enjoy the game, and check out the links while you're watching the game, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that every time new content comes out, you're going to get that firsthand. And thank you again for checking out This Day in Baseball, and enjoy the game.
So here's Bert Campaneris. He hit .250 for the year, stole 34 bases. He is one of 5 players to have 5 hits in the World Series. The pitch to him, swing and a foul, strike one. Campaneris trying to go to right field on the very first pitch of the ball game. Fouled it away. No player has more than 5 hits in the series, but Harrelson, Jones, and Milner of the Mets have 5 each. Campaneris and Rudy have 5 for the A's. Matlack's pitch bunted hard to the first baseman, Milner, who missed tagging Campaneris in a game earlier this year. Tagged him this time. He could have gone to the bag and beaten him, but he wanted to put the tag on him, and he did just that. In a game out in Oakland, Campy butted to Milner, and about 20 feet from the bag, slid under Milner's tag, got up and scampered on to first base. The others were Rudy. Rudy has hit line drive after line drive in the playoffs and the series. For the season, Rudy hit .270 this year. He hit a solid .306 for Oakland last year. 12 homers this season. The pitch is a curved strike call in the inside corner. The A's players were very impressed with Matlack in the first game of the World Series. They said his fastball from the belt down is very well placed most of the time. Rudy lays the bat on his right shoulder. The curveball is in there a little low for a ball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. The Mets play Rudy pretty well straight away. If they have any defensive shift on at all, it is by Hahn in center field, and he is shaded just a bit to right. And Rudy hit one to the 396-foot sign in right field last night. Hahn ran it down and caught it. And a very unusual move, he jumped quite a ways from the fence. He thought he was at the fence, and we found out why today in talking with him. Here's a 1-1 to Rudy. Breaking ball, the third in a row, and he misses with it. It's ball 2. When they got turf to replug the holes that were dug out after the National League Championship was clinched here, they cut some 5 feet off the warning track grass out there and made the warning track a little larger, and Hahn is used to counting his steps, and he ran out of steps. Rudy drills one towards right field, going for it. Rusty Staub. He makes the catch right on the foul line. Joe Rudy rode another line drive. This one close to the line, and Rusty Staub was playing him perfectly. 2 up, 2 down in the first inning. And now here is Sal Bando, the Oakland A's team captain. A strong year he had. After dropping down in the .230 batting average range last year, Bando came roaring back this season and had quite a year. Hit .288, drove in 98 runs. The pitch to him is a changeup high for ball 1. One noticeable thing about the scouting report of the Mets in this series, they have thrown Bando a lot of off-speed pitches. A 1-0 pitch. Curve down low, ball 2. In the American League, Bando is known as one of the finest breaking ball hitters in the league. He waits very well. He doesn't take a real big swing. It's compact but very powerful. 2-0 pitch. Foul, and that was a good fastball. It's 2-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Jon Matlack, known as a hard thrower, has thrown a lot of off-speed pitches tonight for the A's. Big, good-looking athlete. He winds, kicks high, and throws. There's the fastball, and it's up high. And he finds himself behind Bando at 3 balls and a strike. If Bando works his way on, Reggie Jackson will come up. A 2 in New York with gusty winds headed towards right center field as you look out from the plate. Matlack throwing 3-1. Swinging strike 2, he threw it by. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Now the New York left-hander cuts loose again, and there's a fly ball out behind first base. Being chased by Milner with his back to the infield, and he can't get it. He made a fine play. The ball fell just out of his reach going down the line, parallel to the foul line. Jim, the noticeable difference in this park and that one in Oakland is the difference between that foul line and the stands. Well, they come right up on you here in Shea Stadium, and despite all that was heard by the A's and almost threatened by the New York press to the A's players about the vociferous Met crowd last night, was as well a behaved crowd and appreciative of all good days by both clubs as any we've seen in following baseball anytime. 3 balls, 2 strikes to count on Bendo. 2 out, first inning. Matlack to the plate. Little low, ball 4. Boy, that was close. Bendo is on, and that brings up the A's cleanup hitter, Reggie Jackson. So far in this series, Jackson, except for one game, has been held down. He had 4 hits in a game Sunday in Oakland, but he's been up 14 times. Tom Seaver blew him out last night, striking him out the first 3 times up. I was talking with Reggie today, and he said, boy, if you think that guy didn't want to get me last night. He really threw super stuff to Jackson. Here's the pitch. Strike call, and Matlack just busted that humming fastball over the outside corner. It's 0-1. Met second baseman Felix Millan has really shifted over on Jackson. He is strong to the right side, and the shortstop Harrelson is playing close to second base. Matlack giving a look to Bando. The pitch to Jackson. Outside with a breaking ball, and it's 1-1. No score. We're in the first inning. The A's batting. They lead in the series 2-1. So this is a big one for the New York Mets, and they've given the ball to their most dependable pitcher the last month of the season. Matlack delivers. Fouled off. A good cut by Jackson. Hits the ball on 2 strikes. Jackson hit 32 home runs to lead the American League, and of those 32 home runs, 12 were hit off left-hand pitching. This is not an easy home run park. It's 341 feet down the line, and you have to hit it 10 feet high to get a home run out there. Matlack ahead of Jackson comes to the plate. Swinging, strike 3, he got him. Good hard slider. So in the first inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, a man left after a half inning. The A's don't score, the Mets come to bat. There's some of you listening that joined us after we cast amazed that they did not hear that Mike Andrews, the man who was sent home, saying that he had a chronic shoulder problem by Charles Finley and the Oakland A's ball club, he is back in town. He is back on the bench and is available for pinch hitting or playing duties tonight. Now, there were rumors that Charles Finley had been fined by the commissioner's office $5,000. The commissioner's office has denied that. There are all kinds of rumors involving the Oakland A's. But the one fact is, the Oakland A's lead in the World Series 2-1. And now Kenny Holtzman has completed his warm-ups and will face the leadoff man Wayne Garrett of the New York Mets. And here again is Bonnie Moore. And Garrett has hit 2 balls out of the park in the World Series. No one else has hit 2 home runs. As a matter of fact, the Mets have 3 for the series, and the Oakland A's have not hit a home run yet this year. Wayne Garrett against Kenny Holtzman, who pitched 5 innings in the first game of the World Series and left. Won the game 2-1. Garrett has had 3 hits. The pitch to him is inside 1. Holtzman will go about 90 to 95% fastball. He moves it around. Tries to hit the spot. They're coming inside to Garrett, and there's a liner to right field, a base hit. Jesus Salou to pick it up and throws it back in, and what a little leadoff man this Garrett has been. He hit a good pitch right then. Kenny Holtzman came inside on him with a good live fastball, and Garrett lined it out over second base. And now here's Felix Millan, the second baseman for the Mets. Millan has been up 15 times in the series. He has 3 base hits. For the season, he hit .290. And he hit it with a big part of the bat because he'll never get hit on the handle of the bat. He's up almost to the brand. The pitch to him, bunny down the third base line. That's a beauty. Bando can't pick it up. Everybody's safe. not just sacrificed in. He dropped that bat down and bunted a base hit off the third base line. So the Mets' two leadoff men are on against Ken Holtzman here in the first inning with nobody down. Shades of last night. The Mets went right after Catfish Hunter in the first inning. Now Sal Bando, the Oakland A's third baseman, is asking for time. He's going in to talk to Kenny Holtzman. Well, the question is, in the first inning, will Rusty Staub against the left-hand pitcher go to the bunt here? Staub was one of the big power hitters for the Mets this year with 15 homers, 76 runs batted in, .279 batting average, and in the World Series, Rusty has 3 hits. Bando's very shallow at third. The pitch, he squares around as if he's going to bunt, but he takes it for ball 1.
Interesting thing, Monty, you pointed out last night, and we did again tonight. Staub has yet to hit one the other way. They're playing him to pull even now. That bad shoulder.
Gene Tennis was playing behind the runner at first base. Now Dick Williams has moved him around in front of the runner. Dick Green playing halfway at second. Bando shallow. Here's the pitch. Staub takes inside. Again squaring around the bunt. It is 2 balls and no strikes. One of the secrets of bunting well is getting a good pitch to bunt. And Staub is wisely laid off of 2 high inside fastballs. Sal Bando giving signs now to the rest of the infielders. The A's have quite a few trick plays, which they put on in sure bunt situations, but this certainly cannot be classified as a sure bunt situation. Staub cocks the bat. Here's the pitch. He's taking it. It's a strike. He's short enough on the bat that time, but not as if he were going to bunt. He was just obviously taking. A line drive base hit by Garrett started it. And a beautiful bunt dragged down the third base line by Felix Millan. Went for a hit. The 2-1 pitch. Staub swings away. Hits it in the air in a deep left field. Way back goes Joe Rudy. He can't get it. It's over the fence. A 3-run homer for Rusty Staub. Rusty Staub, twice squaring around a bunt. Then changed off and hit a line drive over the 371-foot sign in left center field, and that clears the bases. The Mets lead 3-0, nobody down. And here's Cleon Jones, and the A's Jon Odom goes to work in the bullpen. Holtzman's pitch is low. Ball 1. Rusty Staub, who is not pulling the ball at all, but obviously has not lost his power to drive the ball, just drove one over the left center field wall, and he really clobbered it. Cleon Jones, the Mets left fielder, who has 5 hits in the series. With a 1-0 count, Holtzman, fastball strike call. It's 1-1. Jon Odom was up in the Oakland bullpen in the first inning last night. The Mets got a home run and scored 2 in the first in that game. Jones hits a line drive, backhanded by Dick Green, A's second baseman, going to his right, throws the first. A fine play by Green for the first out. Rusty Staub hit 3 home runs in the National League playoffs, and they were all against left-handers. And he's now hit one in the World Series against the left-handers. Jim, you were here. Did he pull those home runs in the series?
He pulled both of them.
Here's John Milner, who came within a whisker of winning last night's game for the Mets with a line drive to deep right field. Reggie Jackson on the run picked it off. Holtzman's pitch. Fastball inside. He seems to be very quick tonight, but he has thrown only 1 breaking ball in the ballgame. And all scouting reports would have to say that. Holtzman doesn't a fastball pitcher. Here's another one. It's a call strike 1-1. There's a curve, and it's inside for a ball. 2-1 count. John Milner led the Mets in home runs this year. He had 23, drove in 72 runs, and hit .239 for the year. Holtzman misses low, ball 3. Boy, the Mets have been a tough first-inning ball club in this World Series. 3-1 pitch. Inside, he walks him. Dick Williams, ace skipper, is on his way to the mound. Holtzman has had great staying power with the Oakland A's in his 2-year career. The first year of which he won 19 games, and then this year, of course, a 21-game winner for Oakland. He seems to be throwing awfully hard. His positioning of the ball is not that good yet. And you know, they say when you throw fastballs at higher percentage, you'd better be able to move them around. And Kinney's control has not been such in this ball game as yet that he's been able to do that and get away with it. The major leaguers dig in on those fastballs. And you're not moving it or keeping it out of the power swinging area. They can really take them out. And they had 3 base hits in a row to start the game. Here's Jerry Grody, catcher for the Mets, who hit .256 for the year. Right-hand batter. Holtzman pitch, strike called on the inside corner. Grody's had 2 hits. He's been up 15 times. He's looked awfully good behind the plate to have been the victim of that pass ball and a strikeout last night. Holtzman sets and throws a curve, and it's fouled off, and Grody was way in front on Holtzman's second curveball of the game. It's a beautiful sight here in New York, the Shea Stadium, jammed to the rafters. World Series ticket this year has been one of the hottest items in New York City. Scalpers have been asking $100, and I would imagine getting it in many places, though it'd be quite illegal. The pitch to the plate. Grody takes a look at it. It's low. A ball, 1 ball, and 2 strikes. Score the New York Mets 3 and the Oakland A's nothing. We're in the first inning. There's 1 out and a man on. Mets catcher Jerry Grody, one of many Mets who were injured early in the year. Holtzman turns and throws over to first base. Milner, not much of a threat to do any running. But the Mets do execute the hit-and-run play well. 3 times in this series they have hit the ball through a vacated coverage area on the Oakland infield. Holtzman to the plate. Grody bounces it foul off third. Rusty Staub with surprising power, a very sore right shoulder, which prevents him from pulling the ball, or it has appeared to the last couple of days. Really drilled one over that left center field wall. Second it was hit, Rudy turned and ran to the wall, but there was no chance for heroics this year. That one was gone. 1-2 pitch. Liner to left center field, base hit. Milner goes to second, round second. He's on his way to third. Jackson picks the ball up, gets it back into second base. And the Mets are jumping all over Kenny Holtzman, as they apparently did when Holtzman was a pitcher in the National League, and that is going to be all for the Oakland A's starting pitcher in this ball game in the very first inning. Kenny Holtzman, because of the second trip to the mound in an inning by Dick Williams, is automatically out of the ball game. Steve, with 3 runs in, the Mets having runners at first and third base, and only 1 away, and he'll give the ball over to Jon Moon Odom, who last year was a 15-game winner for Oakland. This year he dropped off to winning only 5 or 6, and has really not pitched all that much. Jim?
Well, Kenny Holtzman allowed for 1 run in 5 innings last Saturday afternoon in Game 1 of the World Series, but the Mets have tagged him for 3 already here, with only a third of an inning gone in this game, plus 4 hits. He walked 1 and struck out nobody. The game began with Jon Matlack, as always, looking impressive, getting Campaneris to ground meekly to Milner at first base. Rudy lined to stop near the foul line. Matlack lost Salvando in a 3-2 count and walked him, but then struck out perhaps the Oakland A's most dangerous batter, and certainly on his credentials he is, to lead the league in home runs and RBIs with 32 home runs and 117 RBIs, Reggie Jackson. Then Holtzman took the mound, and things started in a hurry. After taking 1 pitch, Wayne Garrett lined an inside fastball to field. Beyond, Bando by surprise with a perfect run up the third base line, and that was good for a base hit. Garrett going down to second base. And then, as Monty described, twice Staub was men at first and second and none out in the first. and Yogi Berra, wanting his Mets to get out to a big start, asked Staub to bunt. Twice, Staub took high inside pitches and could not bunt, then took a strike and with a 1-2 count, or 2-1 count rather, was swinging away and hit it the opposite way over the 371-foot mark out in left field. A 3-run home run. Cleon Jones bounded one to Dick Green, who made a nice backhanded play on it to throw him out. But then Milner worked the count to 3-1, and he was walked, and Brody singled to center field, with Milner going on to third base with but one out. Well, last night, Tom Seaver had a 2-run lead in the very first inning. Couldn't hold on to it, and the A's in 11 came on to win. Tonight, Jon Matlack, another fine New York pitcher, has a 3-run lead as we continue the count because there's 2 men on base now. And let's see what happens in tonight's 4th game of the World Series, which the A's lead 2-1. Odom is ready. Don Hahn steps in as Monty Moore.
Ken Holtzman of Macon, Georgia, is 27 years old. Last year, he ended up pitching the 5th game of the American League Championship Series against Detroit and winning that one. He ended up starting the 7th game of the World Series for Oakland against Cincinnati. This year, banished to the bullpen, not getting a start, but here he is in the first inning. Runners first and third. This is his 2nd appearance in this World Series. Sunday, he pitched 2 scoreless innings, did not allow a hit. He throws very hard. His natural pitch is a sinking fastball. He also throws good hard sliders. Don Hahn, the batter. The pitch to him. Bouncing ball to Bando. He's got it down to second. Dick Green's got him there. The throw to first. They get a pair on one pitch thrown by Jon Odom. So the Mets are wiped out, but they scored 3 runs in the first inning on 4 base hits and 1 man left on. After an inning of play at Shea, the score 3-0 New York.
Back at Shea Stadium in New York with Monty Moore, this is Jim Simpson. And Jon Matlack has been staked to a 3-run lead. Now remember, he allowed no earned runs in the first game of this World Series and no runs and only 2 hits in the playoff game, which he won over Cincinnati 5-0. So on the surface, it looks as though the A's have a long night ahead, but we shall see. Gene Tennis leads off, and here's Monty.
There's plenty of time with 8 innings left to do a lot of damage. Gene Tennis is the man to lead it off for Oakland. He had 24 home runs in the course of the year. Here's the pitch to him. It's up high for ball 1. There have been 27 pitchers used so far in the first 3 games of this series. And so far in this one, Tennis swings and misses, strike 1. The A's have used 15, the Mets 12. Game number 1, Oakland used 3, the Mets 2. In game number 2, the A's used 6 of their 8 pitchers they have eligible in the series. Mets used 5. Pitch to Tennis is an off-speed delivery outside, ball 2. The third game, each team used 4 pitchers. So far, the A's are already at 2 in this one. And appears to have real good stuff. Is riding it solo so far for the Mets. Gene Tennis, a very versatile player for the A's, got into 160 games of the 162 they played. Here's a ground ball headed to left field, cut off beautifully by Garrett, going to his left, goes to first, good play. Very fine play by Wayne Garrett, who continues to impress in everything he's doing in this World Series. With the glove, at the plate, on the bases. Wayne Garrett took a hit away from Gene Tennis. Now here is Jesus Alou batting .306 for Oakland this year after being acquired in early August from the Houston Astros, where he was playing very little. And in this World Series, he's been up 10 times, has 3 base hits. One of the most nervous and fidgety batters I've ever seen in the batter's box. The pitch to him is low, ball 1. He'll swing at anything in the park almost. You really have to work to walk this guy. He's the biggest of the 3 Alou boys who play in the Major League. Pitch is a high curve, and he drops his bat, puts his leg up in the air. Fans love it. He does everything with that bat. He'll toss in the air in a full flip. Catch it. Count is 2-0. Matlack's pitch. Swinging a line foul off the right field side. That ball was up and in on him, almost at his head, and he hammered it foul off the right field line. Matlack into that smooth windup throws, and the ball is popped up on the infield. Halfway between home and first, it's John Milner in foul territory, making the catch there 2 away. Top of the second inning, the Mets are leading 3-0 over the Oakland A's, and the batter is catcher Ray Fosse for Oakland. Fosse had a good year for the A's. He hit .256. His good work was as a leader behind the plate. A 2-time Gold Glove Award winner in the American League as the outstanding defensive catcher in the league. One of the fine throwers around baseball from behind the plate. Right-hand batter, Matlack looks him over and comes to the plate. Strike, a good fastball in the outside corner. The Mets jumped on Kenny Holtzman in the very first inning. 3 runs. Pitch is high, ball 1. Vida Blue will pitch for the A's tomorrow night, and the veteran money pitcher of the Mets, Jerry Koosman. 1-1 delivery. There's a little looper out over first base towards the stands. Milner goes over and can't get there. The ball and 2 strikes. Fosse has to go back for some new lumber. He broke that one. An odd thing about the World Series this year is that the aces of the 2 pitching staffs did not get into action until the 3rd game of the World Series. Tom Seaver, the Mets, and Catfish Hunter, the Oakland A's, because of the American League and National League Championship Playoff Series. Picks up Fosse, the bouncer foul off third base. Both Seaver and Hunter pitched in the 5th and final game of their league championship. And the World Series started with only 1 day's rest between the end of the American League and the World Series, and 2 days between the championships and the World Series. Matlack's 1-2 pitch. Curve got him looking, called strike 3, and he retires the A's in order in the second. The score, New York 3, Oakland 0. Here's a very fine player for the New York Mets, switch-hitting shortstop Betty Harrelson. He's had 5 base hits in this World Series and played spectacularly in the field. Odom starts him off with a slow curve at high and outside for ball 1. Mets 3 and the A's 0. It's the last of the second inning. Odom's pitch to Harrelson is right in there, a call strike. Odom started 25 games for Oakland this year and managed to finish only 3 of them. Low curve, and he drops it in there. And that's the pitch John Odom developed the year he had the sore arm. He couldn't throw hard after he had his elbow operation for a year, so he developed all kinds of off-speed pitches. And once in a while, if he's ahead in a ball game, he'll throw a pitch that sometimes goes as high as 10 feet in the air. There's a curve very high outside. That one got away from him. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Harrelson. He'll be followed by the pitcher, Matlack, and then Garrett. There's a ground ball to short. It comes up nicely for Campaneris, and he throws to tennis for the first out. And now here is the Met pitcher, Jon Matlack. Fine round of applause, not only for his work here today, but I'm sure in honor of the great work he's done to help put the Mets in here.
One of the great things about Matlack and many other pitchers, Monty, he is wearing the same number as perhaps the greatest left-hander of them all. They all like it because Sandy Koufax wore it, number 32.
Here's the pitch to Matlack. It's a call strike. You want to wear a 32, that means 3 balls and 2 strikes, where most pitchers don't like to go in the count. Left-hand batter digs in. The pitch is outside a ball, 1-1. Odom delivers again and misses outside. 2 balls, 1 strike on the Met pitcher. 1 out, second inning. 3-0. The Mets lead on Rusty Staub's off-field line drive home run. Odom cuts loose again, and it's up high for ball 3. You almost have to throw uphill to throw high to this guy. He is 6 feet, 2 or 3 inches tall. 6 feet 3, Matlack. He's got a big strike zone, and Odom will be trying to hit it with 2 pitches in a row. And he missed low. Ball 4. Odom walks Matlack, and that's the first runner on Jon Odom. Now back to the top of the batting order, and here is Wayne Garrett. He got the Mets going in the first inning as he did last night. The second pitch of the game last night, he drove into the lower mezzanine in right field for a home run. Tonight, hit a solid single out into right off Ken Holtzman. Odom at the stretch. The pitch on the way to the plate is a wild pitch. It goes to the backstop, and Matlack goes to second. So that takes away any double play possibility and gives the Mets now a couple of shots at knocking in another run. They lead 3-0 right now. There's been one of Odom's main troubles this year, the inconsistency of control. Bullpen crew will go to work again. Horacio Pena for Oakland. Odom to the plate. Garrett takes low. It is 2 balls and no strikes. Long reliever's job is to hold the other team as long as he can to give his own teammates a chance to get back in the ball game. Third ball swung on, hit off the end of the bat. Bando in from third to pick it up. Guns his throw to first. Got him on a good play. Over to third base goes the pitcher, Matlack. Bando's got a gun for an arm, and he just had to show it off to the top velocity he could muster. Because Garrett, a left-handed batter, got out of that batter's box in a hurry. Tennis had to sprawl all over the bag to come up with that one. So there are 2 down, and the batter is Felix Milner. Here's a tough hitter in this situation. A .290 average hitter. He won't strike out. You know he's going to make contact somewhere. And if you're the pitcher of the other team, you just have to hope he doesn't get it through the infield somewhere. Boy, he's had a tough series. He had 2 errors charged on him here last night. They were really tough errors to have to take. The pitch to him. Slice off, foul from the first base side. Leon got a beautiful bunt single in the first inning with a man on, and he wasn't running for a sacrifice there. He didn't square around. He just dropped it down that line. 1 strike pitch. Low, a ball. New York Mets lead the Oakland A's, defending world champions of baseball, 3-0 in game number 4. Oakland ahead 2-1. Odom to the plate. Bouncing ball to Bando on 1 hop. He's playing in shallow, fields it cleanly, throws to first, and the side is out without a run. After 2 innings of play at Shea Stadium, New York, the Mets lead the A's 3-0.
Another sellout crowd here at Shea Stadium in New York, which last night went over the 54,000 mark. And last night, it was a little bit warmer than it is tonight. Our producer, Len Dillon, had a line for us. He said they're dressed for a New York Jets game instead of a New York Mets game. It is truly football weather here in New York, and the Mets fans at the moment couldn't care less. They're out in front 3-0 as we begin the Oakland third. Bonnie?
For the A's in the third inning, Dick Green will lead off, and then the pitcher, Jon Odom. Jim, it's a big thrill for us to have in the booth with us tonight a man that I used to consider the World Series to be, the man who broadcast so many of them, Mel Allen, sitting here watching tonight, and Dick Green swings in the first pitch. It's no balls and 1 strike. Green had a very fine year for Oakland. Hit .260. The pitch to him. Swinging. Strike two. He's late on the first two pitches from Matlack. Boy, this fella is around the plate all the time with good stuff. He fires away. Swinging. Strike three. Matlack gets his third strikeout of the game. There's one down in the third inning. And here's the pitcher, Jon Odom. In the days when the American League pitchers did their own hitting, before the designated hitter rule, this was one of the most feared hitters among pitchers in the league. Odom, one season, hit 5 home runs. The pitch to him is up high, ball one. Odom went out in high school. He's used many times by the A's as a pinch runner. Swinging strike, and we run out from under his batting bonnet that time. He doesn't get cheated on those swings, Jim. He may not swing where that ball is all the time, but if they throw it where he's swinging, it's going to go for quite a ride. Matlack to the plate. That's a strike. Right on the letters. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The A's have not had a hit as yet. The Mets got 4, all in the first inning. The big one, a 3-run homer by Rusty Staub. A drive over the left center field wall. 1-2 delivery. Fouled off. Mets have proven what pitching means to playoffs and the World Series. They had a strong pitching staff in the '69 World Series and up the Baltimore Orioles. The pitch. Curve, strike three call. He really handcuffed Odom on that one. That's 4 strikeouts. Now back to the top of the batting order. Bert Campaneris, Oakland shortstop, will lead it off. The first time through the order, Matlack did not allow a base hit. Only 1 runner. A walk to Bendo on a 3-2 pitch in the first inning. He struck out 4 the first time around. Now the Mets pull their corner men in very shallow. Garrett at third. Milner at first. Curveball. Campaneris swings through it, missing. Strike 1. Very durable little guy, Campaneris. He's averaged around 600 at bats per season for quite a few years. Good curveball, and Matlack is razor sharp here tonight. No balls, 2 strikes. That ball left side of the infield. Garrett in front of the shortstop has got it. Throws the first. 3 up, 3 down in the third inning. The score remains the Mets 3 and the A's nothing. For Rusty Staub, who was up 6 times last night, had 2 hits, hit everything to the opposite field. He's 1 for 1 tonight. Driving in Garrett and Leon ahead of him with his 3-run home run, which is the margin right now. New York 3, Oakland nothing as we start the third. Rusty Staub, a very determined athlete. After Sunday's ball game in Oakland, one which went record length and time, Rusty got on one of those red-eye special planes and came into New York on an all-night flight just to get here to take extra batting practice on Monday. The rest of the Mets did not work out at all. He wanted to be ready, and it appears that he is. Odom starts him off this time with a high curveball. 1-0. Staub, Jones, and Milner, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th hitters to meet at the Met batting order, will go against Blue Moon Odom here in the 3rd. Odom backs him off the plate with an inside fastball at 2-0. Blue Moon got the name Blue Moon from a school teacher when he was in grade school in Macon, Georgia. He said he had a moon face, and the kids all started calling him Moon. Here's a 2-0 delivery. Strike, good letter-high fastball. And, of course, A's owner Charlie Finley loves nicknames. So he had to sign Blue Moon Odom and Catfish Hunter. And signed both those guys personally. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Low to Staub, and Odom is behind him at 3-1. Well-known baseball scout this year, Howie Hakes, the Pittsburgh Pirate organization, told us a story about Odom. I'll tell you in a minute. Here's the pitch. Staub to start the third. Howie was telling us that he had turned in scouting reports on many, many players, free agents, high school, college-age pitchers, and so forth in his great scouting career, and he's brought in some of the best ones. He said he's never turned in a higher report on any athlete to the Pittsburgh organization that he turned in on Jon Odom as a high school pitcher. Here's Cleon Jones. Hayes infield tightens up a bit around second base with Staub off first. Nobody down. Odom throws to the plate. Misses low and outside, ball one. Cleon has been a driving force for the Mets. In their last 10 games, which were the biggest 10 they played, he had 7 home runs. He hit one in Oakland right down the right field line. Here's the pitch to him. Bouncer foul off third base. One ball and one strike. Home half of the third inning at Shea Stadium, New York, in Game 4 of the 1973 World Series, and the Mets are leading 3-0 on Rusty Staub's first inning home run. Odom to the plate. Misses high and inside. Odom's one of those pitchers about whom some players say he is just wild enough to be effective. He is a long ways from what you could call a control pitcher. Now the Met crowd starts to cheer. Throw back over to first. Staub didn't have a very big lead, so he gets back in easily. Staub leaning as if he won't. He's not. The pitch. Line drive in the hole in right center field. Reggie Jackson over to cut it off on one hop. Staub on his way to third. The throw's coming to the shortstop. Cut off. Staub makes it easily. And the amazing Mets have got runners at first and third and nobody down here in the third inning on a right center field line drive base hit by Cleon Jones, and he becomes the leading hitter in the World Series so far with 6. And again, the old submariner, Horacio Pena, gets up in the Oakland bullpen, which is located behind the left field screen. Nobody down. The Mets in the driver's seat to get some more runs here. Here's Milner, the first baseman. Oakland will play their infield halfway. If the ball is hit sharply enough, they'll go for the double play. Staub at third. Jones at first. Nobody out. Odom to the plate. Milner bounces it foul off first with a mighty touch. Sal Bando comes in from third base. I believe he wants to make sure that Odom knows what the scouting report says on pitching to Milner. The ball game could get out of hand in a hurry right here, the way Matlack is pitching. If the Mets add 2 or 3 more now, it could be a mighty, mighty long uphill climb for the Kelly green and gold of the Oakland A's. Odom's pitch. Bouncer fouled down the first baseline. Odom's got it. Throws to the plate. They've got Staub hung up in a rundown, driving him back to third. Bando puts on the tag, and now they've got a man off first base. If Bando saw him, he didn't see him. Well-executed rundown play by the Oakland A's, something they work on by the hours in spring training. The catcher, Ray Fosse, took the off-balance throw from Jon Odom, who's one of the finest fielding pitchers in baseball. Fosse drove Staub back to third. They were going to make sure that the Mets didn't allow the other runners to go to second and third, and that's why Staub came off the bag at third, hoping that that could happen. The Staub is cut off third base. There's one out, and here's Jerry Grody. If you keep score, that out went from Jon Odom to Ray Fosse to Sal Bando. That out went from Jon Odom to Ray Fosse to Sal Bando. Now Milner's at second At the first base, Jones is at second. And the pitch to Cody's a strike call. Grody's base hit was the KO blow for Kenny Holtzman, who started the game for Oakland. Odom brings his hands together, kicks that white shoe in the air, and throws outside in the dirt, and Ray Fosse had to backhand that one to keep a wild pitch from moving 2 runners up. He's playing their infield straight up in double play position. Here's the pitch. Bouncing ball right side. Dick Green's got it. Throws down to Campaneris at second for 1. He guns it over to first. They get the double play. The second turned in behind Jon Odom since he came into the game. And after 3 innings of action at Shea Stadium in New York in the World Series, it's the Mets 3 and the A's nothing.
Base hit. They've had 1 base runner. Matlack, with 2 out in the first, got to 3 and 2 on Bando, lost him and walked him. Other than that, he has been letter sharp. Nobody, with the exception of Rudy's line drive to right field, has hit the ball out of the infield, and 4 Oakland A's have been struck out. Jackson on a hard curve, swinging. Fosse looking at a curveball. Green striking out, swinging at a fastball. And Odom looking at a curveball. Matlack has been mixing them up. He has been letter perfect, and will start off with Rudy here in the 4th, leading 3-0. Bonnie?
Rudy has hit the ball harder than any other A's player. He lined out to Rusty Staub right near the foul line and right back in the first inning. He's hit line drives throughout the playoffs and the World Series. Matlack winding. Here's the pitch. Check swing foul into the Mets dugout. Jim, there was quite an interesting story, and certainly one worth asking you to tell when we get time about Max suffering a concussion this year or a skull fracture or something with the Mets, one of many injuries, but that certainly is one of the most intriguing that he has come back from it. 1 strike on Joe Rudy, Oakland's left fielder. Curveball fouled off.
Line drive off his head, and he did suffer concussion, and was one of 8 men on disabled list for the New York Mets this year, including Bud Harrelson, who's had such a fine World Series, who was disabled twice. And we'll recall again that about 6 to 8 weeks ago here in New York, they were rumouring that Yogi Berra was about to be fired. Here's Yogi Berra at his Mets, now well again, with the exception of Staub nursing that sore shoulder, in the World Series.
0-2 pitch, curveball, and Rudy hammers at it and misses. Strike 3. And through 3 1/3 innings, Matlack has not given up a base hit to the Oakland A's. Sal Bando comes up now for Oakland. In the early innings last night, Tom Seaver seemed to have everything going for him, including a 2-0 lead. The A's kept backing away and finally got him out of the game. There's a hot smash to the third baseman, and Garrett boosts the ball. That might be the easiest play he's had in the series. He's made some fine plays, but that one just managed to go right out of the glove. So Bando is on, and that brings up Reggie Jackson. And I know all fans across the country listening to this game, as you do listening to any World Series, kind of expect that sometime or another a big hitter might unload one. The Mickey Mantles, the Willie Mazes, Hank Aaron. When they're in World Series, everybody anticipates the big guy hitting one out. Jackson hasn't done that yet. Here's the pitch to him. Line drive, center field, base hit to first for the A's. Bando round second on his way to third. Throws the throw. It might be close. He slides. It's a little bit offline, and Bando goes into third. Jackson into second. Don Hahn overthrew his cutoff man by about 4 feet. Bud Harrelson is standing with his hands on his hips, looking out to center field to Hahn to say, "Hey, what are you doing?" Reggie Jackson manages to make it into second base as Hahn overthrew the cutoff man. I don't know, with a good throw, he might have gotten Bando, but it would have taken a perfect throw because he was throwing from right center field.
And as it is, as Jackson goes into second on the throw, 1 base hit, it could be 3-2 in a hurry.
And here is a tough man, Gene Tennis, ready. Infield is back. The pitch to Gino. Curve, low of ball. Remember the World Series last year. Gene Tennis got into the record books by smashing 4 home runs, as many as any player has ever hit in a World Series. Matlack to the plate. Dennis swings over a curve. Pickoff attempted second. Jackson makes it back in with a hit first dive. Gary Brody hoping to catch. Reggie Jackson napping and made a great throw to second and almost got him. Boy, I love to see a catcher who is not afraid to throw behind a runner with another one on base. Jackson got back in at second base with a headlong dive, just grabbing the corner of the bag with his right hand. 1 ball, 1 strike on tennis. Bando at third, Jackson at second. Matlack off the stretch. Delivers. Curveball fouled off, and he's staying right with the breaking stuff to tennis here. Since the infield is back, he's gone to the stretch here to hold Bando and Jackson as close as he can to the bases. A ground ball by Tennessee, either short or second base, would easily score Bando. The Mets are willing to give up a run to get it out here. 1-2 count. The pitch on the way. Curveball hit foul, and Tennis is creeping up on the timing on that breaking ball. That's 3 of them in a row he's seen. Matlack ahead of a tough hitter right now, and a ball and 2 strikes. It would be a little surprising to see him throw a very good pitch here. The door opened by an error. Jackson rifled a single into right center. Matlack down to the waist, checks the runners. Here's the pitch to the plate. Inside fastball. He tried to sneak one by him. Hits 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jesus Alou, another tough right-handed batter, is on deck. Oakland is almost an exclusively right-handed hitting lineup. Jackson, the only left-hand swinger in the lineup. Matlack 2-2 pitch. Curveball hit on the ground, deep third base, right by him, over to shortstop. Harrelson throwing the first. A super play gets Gene Tennis as Bando scores. There are a couple of little guys with big arms playing shortstop in this World Series. Bud Harrelson took a ball that was bounced by the third baseman, planted at right foot, and gunned a strike to first, with Jackson going to third. It's now a 3-1 ball game, and the batter's Jesus Alou. Tennis gets a run batted in on the play. Now with 2 out in the 4th inning. Alou goes through his calisthenics up at home plate. Matlack still stays with the stretch here. Fouled off. Ooh, well, Lou had a vicious cut there. Brody took a beating. That ball hit him somewhere, probably up on the arm. That play by Harrelson could have saved a big inning. Brody tossed it 1 mask away. He's going to have another mask thrown out to him. We're in the top of the 4th inning, 2 out. The A's have Reggie Jackson at third. The score is 3-1. The Mets are leading. It'll be a mighty big run for Oakland to pick up right here. Matlack stayed with the stretch all the way through this thing. Holding, throwing. Line drive, left field, falling fast. Here comes Jones. He's got it. Cleon Jones came running in to get a ball that was hit off the fist. In the 4th, Oakland gets 1 run on a hit, an error, and a man left, and the score is 3-1 the Mets. Center fielder Don Hahn. That's now against Jon Odom. Last half of the 4th inning just underway, and Hahn slams the first pitch into right field, a base hit. Jesus Alou picks it up in right field and throws back behind Hahn. And he put it right on the bag, and Hahn had to hit the dirt and grab the bag to get in there safely. So Hahn gives the Mets the leadoff man in the 4th inning, and now here's Bud Harrelson, the shortstop. And once again, work in the Oakland bullpen. This time it is not Pena. It is Knowles, but Pina's going to work also. Knowles, a left-hander, Pena, a right-hander. Odom got out of a tremendous pickle in the 3rd inning when he walked Staub. Staub went to third on a single by Jones, and with runners first and third and nobody down, Jon Odom, with some stout-hearted pitching, got out of it. Now here's Bud Harrelson. High leading off first. The pitch to Harrelson, bunted foul. He tried to shove it along the third base line, and that didn't look exactly like a sacrifice bunt. Try there. He put that quick stab at it as if he were trying to kill it and maybe get a base hit. Oakland has only one hit in the game. The Mets have 6. The pitch to the plate, swung on and missed as Odom threw a super sinker right there. That ball really dived. Reggie Jackson is playing Harrelson very shallow in center field and shaded to left. Joe Rudy is shallow in left. Odom's 0-2 pitch. Outside. The Mets have been a hit 'em in the first inning and hold on group. The last couple of nights, they got 2 runs last night and didn't get any more. Lost the game in extra innings. They got 3 runs tonight. Here's a pitch. Line drive, left field, base hit by Harrelson. Like a magician, he threaded that ball right through the Oakland infield between Campaneris and Bando. And now they're runners at first and second with nobody down, and the pitcher Matlack coming up. And Sal Bando goes to the pitcher's mound to talk to Johnny Odom. He'll walk away from there and give some signs. This is one of those almost sure bunt situations, I would say, where we might see the A's Bando charging. Campaneris, the shortstop, could go cover third. They also have a fake play where they try a pickoff at second. The Mets are well aware of all these, and the fact that the A's have them would manage to keep Don Hahn at second base. Bud Harrelson drills one to left field. Here comes Tennis charging the plate from first. Campaneris goes over, and Dick Green goes back to second, but John Odom doesn't throw the ball anywhere, and Dick Williams is going to the mound. The A's had a pickoff play on at second base, and they're going to bring in the left-hander right here. John Odom did not make the throw to second, giving away a play, and Dick Williams got out of the dugout in a hurry. He's bringing in Darrell Knowles. 3-1 ball game. And, Jim, I just have to continue to marvel at the outstanding play of Bud Harrelson, batting left or right-handed. He has had excellent bat control in this series, and that was a typical blast right there. He was down, no balls, 2 strikes, waited out a fastball, and now it's 1-2 and hit it perfectly to left field.
And now it's up with the man who was known for hitting. A man that hit .340 back in 1969 when the Mets won their other pennant and subsequently won the World Series, Cleon Jones. Jones tonight in the third inning got his 6th hit of the series, and now Harrelson with that line drive between short and second, or rather short and third base on a 1-2 pitch, picks up his 6th hit for the series. Hahn down at second. Harrelson on at first, and we'll repeat again that Campaneris, the shortstop for the A's, and Harrelson, the shortstop for the Mets, have been the finest players, the most noticeable players throughout this entire series. Great fielding plays. Harrelson made one in the top of this inning to throw out Gene Tenace and to save another possible run. And now Harrelson has come right back to single to put Odom out of the ball game. And, of course, we all recall, among other things, that Campaneris has made some fine fielding plays also, has stolen 3 bases, and drove in the winning run last night. So it's that kind of series for the shortstop. Darrell Knowles coming on now as Odom, who came on in the first inning, worked a total of 2 2/3 innings. Has thus far been charged with no runs, but has given up 3 base hits. Struck out nobody, and walked 2 people. Darrell Knowles, a short relief man, fine left-hander, but brought on here because the Oakland A's, by scoring that unearned run in the top of this inning, crawled within 2, and that is not insurmountable. And how about that Jon Matlack? Pitching on Saturday in the first game of the World Series, losing 2-1, and both runs scored were unearned. He's given up a run here tonight, which is unearned. Matlack has been superb. His fielding support has not been. But right now he's got a chance to help himself with men at first and second and none out, and Matlack is the batter.
All right, Darrell Knowles will look at Sal Bando as third baseman is playing very shallow at third. Campaneris at shortstop. Heading towards third. Pickoff attempt at first base this time. And Gene Tennis trying to tag, but Harrelson doesn't get him. That's another one of the trick plays the Oakland A's move.
Well, Tennis still tried to bump Harrelson off the bag, and everybody remembers the run-in between Harrelson and Pete Rose in the National League Championships, and we're on Tennis in a hurry.
I think Gino was a little bit off balance there, and he did collide with him. Now another play is on. Campaneris has gone to cover third. The pitch is bunted at and missed. The A's might be the movingest team in baseball when it comes bunting time. They really have a long series, and Darrell Knowles is the only pitcher they have who will try that pickoff attempt at first base on a timing play that he tried with Gene Tennis. But you have very alert base runners on there, particularly at first base, Buddy Harrelson, and he wasn't about to be picked off on the play. Now let's see what kind of a play Dick Williams has put on now. Nobody out, 2 runners on. No set. Campaneris has gone to cover third. The ball is bunted out in front of the plate, but it was touched foul while it was still behind the plate by Ray Foster, the catcher. So it's no balls, 2 strikes on Jon Matlack. Boy, they'd love to get these guys moved up. The top of the batting order is coming on for the Mets. It's a 3-1 ball game. The Mets have out-hit the A's 7-1. As a matter of fact, for this World Series, the Mets have out-hit Oakland pretty badly in number of base hits. They have out-homered Oakland, which has got to be in the surprise category. Oakland was a long ball-hitting team for the year. 0-2 pitch, the play is still on, and it's outside. When Oakland has that play on, they like for the pitcher to throw a strike. They want the ball to be bunted. But no, Smith with it outside.
Talking about the Oakland A's being a long ball club and the A's out hitting them and out homering them, same thing happened to Cincinnati in the championship.
1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Don Hahn at second base, Bud Harrelson at first. Campaneris has gone to third again. The ball is taken. A call, strike 3. Darrell Knowles threw a fastball right through the middle, and Matlack couldn't pull the trigger. That is the first New York Mets batter to strike out in the ball game. And now here's Wayne Garrett. That's one of the impressive things looking at the Mets' seasonal batting averages and statistics. They didn't have one batter strike out as many as 100 times for the year. So they got a bunch of men who stand in there and make contact, and as long as you're hitting the ball, it's got to go through once in a while. Wayne Garrett, who finished strong for the Mets. 10 runs batted in his last 9 games. The pitch from Knowles. Slider outside, ball 1. Well, this is the 4th game of the World Series, and it's the 4th game in which Darrell Knowles has pitched in this series. 4 1/3 innings up to now. Allowed 1 hit, walked 2, struck out 2, had 1 save, and made 1 bad throw to the plate. In a bases-loaded situation, they had a force out at the plate and an easy double play on Sunday, and Darrell threw the ball by the catcher as he fell down. Here's the 1-0 to Garrett. Low, ball 2. Garrett, a very aggressive hitter. He stands right on top of the plate. He has a good eye. He takes the pitches he doesn't like. Oakland plays him as a pull hitter. They're giving him the entire left side of the infield. 2-0 pitch. Strike called on the outside corner. Yogi Berra, who's been in the World Series many, many times. Mostly as a player, but this is his second as a manager. 1 on each side of town here in New York. 1 for the Yankees and now 1 with the Mets. Knowles working with 2 on and 1 out. The pitch hits the batter right in the hip. Darrell Knowles has really pitched his way into a pickle barrel now. The ball got away from him. It hit the left-handed batter right in the hip. Bases are loaded with 1 out, and Felix Meehan is up. And here's a super chance. He missed. To break it wide open. Oakland will play their infield now. Let's see how they're going to play it. Dick Green is telling Gene Tennis to come in and play halfway. He's going to play right even with the bag. Green is playing in. The Mets have Hahn, Harrelson, and Garrett, all 3 who can run on the bases. Pitch to Leon is up high for ball one. And Wes Stock is being sent to the mound to talk to Darrell Knowles. Dick Williams just raised his thumb and pointed to the mound and told Wes Stock to go out there.
Funny thing, if the fans should boo the fact that Garrett was hit, because actually that helps the New York Mets immensely, and it's the last thing in the world Darrell Knowles wanted to do, hit anybody, because it automatically moves the runners up and also put Garrett on to load up the bases. And instead of having runners at first and second with one out, now they've got the bases loaded. But the man moved over. So that was far from being intentional by Darrell Knowles, and it helps. And I'm sure that Wayne can stand the pain for just a bit. Feels a lot better since he's standing on first base.
And looking at possibly a difference of $7,000 winning and losing this series. Leon ready. Tough guy to get out of this situation. He hits ground balls a lot, and the A's have their infield drawn in. They're almost to the edge of the grass. Knowles' natural pitch is a sinker. He apparently has shaken Fossey off on 2 pitches. He got his sign twice, and now asks Ray to come out. Knowles, many times this year in situations similar to this, has been able to throw a sinker out away from a right-handed batter and get a double play. He turns the ball over a little bit. But with these runners, somebody's going to have to move it in a hurry. Leon cocks the bat. Here's the pitch on the way. Bouncing ball, twice foul off the first base line, and Leon's just trying to punch it through that drawn-in infield. Mets are leading 3-1. We're in the home half of the 4th inning. 55,000 are close to it here at Shea Stadium in New York, where the Mets have made them baseball in the big city this year. Coming from the depths of the Eastern Division Summer in the National League to the World Series. 1-1 pitch. Outside a ball at 2-1. And this next pitch will be a big one for Darrell Knowles. If he misses with it, the pressure is on, and the plate will look about 3 inches wide. Have to throw 3-1 with the bases loaded. On from third, Harrelson from second, Garrett from first, lead away. Here's a pitch. Swing and a foul, and the bat goes up into the crowd. Felix Millan threw that bat all the way over the top of one of the NBC television cameras and into the photo deck. Just slid right out of his hand. Maybe a little more pine tar on it. They're bringing the pine tar rag out. He's doctoring up. Looks like a new bat. You can tell the old bats that have been around a while because they put that pine tar on them, and the least bit of dirt will discolor the bat. A brand new looking one up there, so it was a little too slick for him. So the count is at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bases full of New York Mets. Only 1 out. They're leading now 3-1 in the 4th. Knowles, winding, pitching, bouncing ball to Dick Green. He's got it, drops the ball, picks it up, throws nowhere. He can't get rid of it. A run scores. The Mets lead 4-1. That should have been a double play, inning-ending play. Dick Green was playing in. He ordinarily is one of the most sure-handed infielders in the American League. He backhanded the ball, started to throw to the plate, and never did get the ball cleanly.
And I'm sure that Millan feels there's some justice in the world after all. The same thing happened to him on an easy play that allowed 2 unearned runs in game number 1. And now score 4-1. The base is loaded. Here is Rusty Staub.
Rusty's already driven in 3 with a home run. Knowles winding. Here's the pitch. Bouncing ball, right field, base hit. Here comes 1 run in. Harrelson scores. Right behind him, Garrett scores, and the Mets have blown it open. They lead 6-1. To come to the plate with the bases loaded when the A's missed a double play ball that would have gotten them out of the inning with no runs scored. And Rusty pulled it through the right side of the drawn-in infield, and the Mets now lead 6-1 with runners at first and third base. And here is Cleon Jones. That is 5 runs batted in for Rusty Staub in this ball game. Now the A's back up in double play position on the infield. No sets and throws. Slider missing inside, ball one. Well, Darrell, in bases-loaded situation to this World Series, has pitched his way out of jams, but he couldn't defensive way out of them. In Oakland, they hit a double play ball back to him, and he threw it away. This time he got him to hit a double play ball, and Green didn't get it. This one is fouled away by Jones. Hahn and Harrelson started it for the Mets here in the fourth. They got base hit. Matlack took a called third strike. Then Garrett was hit by a pitch to load him up, and Leon hit the double play bouncer to a drawn-in second baseman, Dick Green. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Through ball. Strike gets called. It's 1-2 now. This series has been weird in the respect that the men who ordinarily don't make the errors have made the most. Nose firing 1-2. Bouncer foul off third. Cleon Jones grounded out to second in the first inning, had a single in the third. He's up now with a count of 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runners first and third and 1 out, and a pitch on the way. Outside, it's ball 2. Most runs batted in anyone's ever had in a World Series game is 6. And it wasn't by a Mantle or a Mays or an Aaron. It was by Bobby Richardson of the Yankees in 1960 against the Pirates. Rusty Staub will have another couple of at-bats in this one. Pickoff attempt at first, and Rusty goes back in and grabs the bag. He's got to have a lot of competitive spirit in that body. He goes back in and actually is only swinging the bat one-handed. Here's the pitch. Fouled off by Jones into the Oakland dugout. Two balls, 2 strikes. 1 out. A men uprising here. A typical one in the last month of the season for New York. Here's the pitch. Way outside. Ball 3. That'd be interesting to see if Yogi Berra with a 5-run lead starts Rusty Staub off first base here. On a 3-ball, 2-strike count. He might try to start him to stay away from a double play, which would take him out of the inning. If they beat the double play, they'll get a run. He took a shot at him with a pickoff to first base. Guy Fondy scouted the Oakland A's for the New York Mets, and obviously has turned in a good report. Another pickoff attempt at first base by Nose. Cleon Jones at the plate. Staub off first base. He's going. The pitch is taken. Ball 4. Bases loaded again. And up comes the 8th New York Mets batter of the 4th inning. Jon Milner, left-handed batting first baseman who has walked and hit into a fielder's choice 4th out. Score now, 6-1. The Mets are leading. Nose to the plate. Broken bat, one hopper back to the mound. Nose has got it, throws the home for 1 over to first, a double play. So he finally got it done. He had him hit it back to him, and he hurried his throw in there. Fossey took it, then threw it to Tennis for the double play. The New York Mets in the inning scored 3 runs. They had 3 base hits. There was 1 very costly error, and 2 were left on. After 4 innings, the score is 6-1 New York.
With Monty Moore, this is Jim Simpson back in New York. And can you believe it, in the World Series, the 2 runs that won the first game are unearned. The 3-run margin, the difference in the second game, unearned. The winning run last night in the 11th inning set up on a pass ball by the usually fine fielding defensive catcher Jerry Grody. And although only 1 of the 3 runs scored in the 4th inning by the Mets was unearned, because you cannot anticipate a double play, they could have been out of it without a run at all. So defense has not been the primary aspect of the 1973 World Series. Here's Matlack to start the 5th, a big 5-run ball, just 6-1. Here's Monty.
Ray Fosse will lead it off for Oakland, and then Angel Manuel will pinch hit for Dick Green. Matlack's pitch. Fosse hits one on the ground, left to the third baseman, and right on through out into left field. Ray Fosse threads one right between Garrett going to his left and Harrelson going to his right. Hit number 2 for the Oakland A's. And now pinch hitter for second baseman Dick Green is Angel Manuel. Manuel, for the season, played very little for Oakland. He hit .224, had 3 home runs. He's an outfielder. Matlack's pitch to him is low, a ball. Mets lead 6-1. Some pitchers have a tendency, when they have a big lead like this, to sort of just soup it up there and say, I'm not going to walk anybody, and don't put quite as much stuff on it. Matlack now is behind this batter, 2-0. He missed it outside of Manuel. It's a good one for the killer instinct, but just go boring right on in the rest of the way. Matlack has been an outstanding pitcher in the series, in the playoffs, and down the stretch for the Mets. Manuel looks at a fastball strike. It's 2-1. Manuel pops one foul off into the crowd on the right side. When the Mets won in '69, it was considered a miracle, but certainly the A's players and management and scouts would not consider it that much of a miracle for the Mets to win this year with the pitching they have, and they had to beat an outstanding team in Cincinnati to get into the World Series. Here's a pitch. Little looper headed towards right field. Dion's going back. Good over the head catch. Going away. Wow, and the pitcher is due, but Billy Canigliaro will bat for Darrell Knowles. Dick Williams in last night's long ball game used every player on his roster other than pitchers except this man right here, Billy Canigliaro.
Your attention, please. For Oakland, setting for goal.
The A's last night were operating with 23 men. They have 24 tonight. As Mike Andrews, who was not in uniform last night, is back in an A's uniform tonight and is available for pinch hit duty. And the way this one's going, it wouldn't be at all surprising to see him in there. Billy Canigliaro, right-hand batter. Pitch to him. Strike to the outside corner. Billy C's been up one time in the World Series without a hit. He won the A's center field job in spring training with some outstanding hitting, fine defense. But he injured his knee and had to have an operation and missed 6 weeks of the season. Fly ball hit pretty well out in the center field. Don Hahn has lots of room, just goes back a few steps, turns around, and makes the catch. They're 2 away. Then once Billy C. was injured, a player by the name of Billy Norris took over for Oakland and became one of the premier center fielders in the league. Stole over 50 bases. And then about a week from the end of the season, he stepped on a base wrong in Minnesota and tore a ligament in his ankle, and Billy Norris is not able to play in this World Series for Oakland. Here's Bert Campaneris. Jon Matlack's pitch, swinging, strike 1. Matlack, fine control, good stuff. He's walked only, he struck out 4 in the game. Oakland has 2 hits. Score 6-1. The Mets are on top. The pitch. That ball hit the bat accidentally. Campaneris tried to get out of the strike zone and couldn't. So Matlack's ahead of him and no balls, 2 strikes. The Mets have a left-hander throwing in their bullpen, but I doubt that it's because Matlack is coming out. It's Ray Sadecki throwing out there, probably just limbering up. Good at control of the game as Matlack appears to have, unless they might want to let him go a few innings and then maybe save him for some later games, and that doesn't seem too reasonable either. Here's the pitch to Campy, and he bounced it one towards third. Deep. Garrett got it, throwing to second for the fourth play. Great play. He got him. Garrett falling down almost down the left field line, fired a strike. The second baseman beyond the fourth posse coming in. So in the 5th inning, Oakland doesn't score, and it's the Mets 6 and Oakland 1. Opportunistic New York Mets have crashed through the Oakland A's and lead 6-1 as we go into the last half of the ball game. Here is NBC's Jim Simpson.
All right, Monty, after sending 8 men to bat in the last of the 4th, the Mets will lead it off with the only man who did not bat. In that 3-run 4th inning, Jerry Grody was singled and a hit into a double play. Horatio Pena, the 4th pitcher tonight. That means that already Oakland has used 17 pitchers in this ball game. New York has used 12. 29 pitchers used, and we're just in the 4th game. That's leading 6-1, hoping, and it looks like, doesn't it, we'll be going back to Oakland, California. Pena's sidearm, curveball, strike 1. Pena, right-hander who drops way down, throws sidearm, almost underhand on occasion. Drops the curveball across to Jerry Grody, strike 1. They play Grody around to the right. They hit to the opposite field. Pena back with another fastball this time, outside, ball 1, 1 strike, 1 ball. On deck awaits Don Hahn. And the crowd here, after an exciting 4th inning, quiet now, altered on even more. They believe. Here's the breaking pitch, line to center field. Jackson over to pick it up, and Brody's on with his second base hit of the night, the 4th of the series. Taking on a Pena curveball, first hit off him, and the 9th hit for the New York Mets. The only run that Oakland has is unearned. 1 of the 6 New York Met runs unearned. Here's Don Hahn, who started the 3-run 4th inning with a single to left field, picking on the first pitch that he saw. 1 for 2 tonight, has 3 hits in the series. On close stance, right-handed batter waggles the bat, swings on a curveball, lines it foul off into the seats, and it just looks as though it's skipping over the head of some of the fans down the right field line. Strike 1. Tomorrow night, Vida Blue will go for the Oakland A's. Out in Oakland, they're still waiting for Vida to win what they call a big game, a playoff game or a World Series game. And Jerry Koosman, who's won a lot of games, including 2 in the 1969 World Series, will go for New York. Pickoff attempt, but not much of one because Tennis was about 10 feet behind the bag. Pena had to soften up on the throw, and Tennis came over and pitched a little looping throw. He had Tennis picked off. Brody wasn't going. The Mets have tried hit and run on 3 different occasions, as Monty said. Never tried to steal yet. Curveball, deep left field. Back goes Rudy. To the fence. Leaps. He's got it. Another Joe Rudy catch at the fence. Remember in Cincinnati last year, and he'll get a hand for that. Rudy, 358 feet away, leaps at the fence and hauled in the long drive of Don Hahn. Taking on a Pena curveball and almost hit it out of here. Had it gone out, the fans really would have headed for the exits on this chilly night. It would have made it 8-1, but instead, Brody's trotting back after Hahn has a hit taken away from him by Joe Rudy. Here's Bud Harrelson, 1 for 2 tonight. Has 6 hits and 15 tries in the World Series. Batting left-handed against the right-handed Pena. Outside with the pitch is Pena, ball 1. Harrelson on occasion has hit the long ball here in the World Series, sending the outfielders to the wall, which is very unusual. Harrelson not known as a home run hitter. Switch hitter, dandy shortstop. But in this World Series, he has been something else. Brody leads off at first base with one out. Pena throws the breaking ball. It's fouled off to the left. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitcher, the man of the hour in New York, or will he have to share those honors with Rusty Staub, who has 5 RBIs in this game? The pitcher, Jon Matlack, waits on deck. Matlack in that 5-0 second game of the National League Championship that got the Mets right back into it, allowed only 2 hits. Both were singles. He's allowed 2 hits thus far tonight, both singles. Pena ready, throws the breaking pitch, fouled off again to the left. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We're in the last of the 5th. The Mets have their 6 runs on 9 hits, committed an error that cost a run. The A's 1 run, 2 hits, and committed an error that cost at least 1 run, and maybe more, because instead of an inning-ending double play, the Mets went on to score more runs. 1-2. Bando and Tennyson at the corners. Campaneris and Kubiak looking for the double play ball. Pena throws, curveball, low and away. 2-2. Friday is an off day. Should the Mets win this, one thing will be sure: we do go back to Oakland, California. Teams will travel on Friday. And then there will be day games in Oakland, California, Saturday, if necessary. 2-2. Pena takes a glance at first. There's another breaking pitch outside. He's gone to 3-2 to Harrelson, and Fossey trots out. Say a word to Pena. Dick Williams has been using nearly everybody in sight. Already through the 5th inning, he's set up 2 of his pinch hitters. Operating with a 24-man staff tonight, he used everybody, with the exception of Canigliaro last night, as Monty pointed out. High fastball, ball 4. Harrelson walks, and down to second goes Brody. And with 1 out, that will bring up Jon Matlack, who just might be up there to bunt until Sal Bando, looking into the dugout for a signal, sees Weststock, the pitching coach, race out. That's the 5th man to walk. 1 against the starter Holtzman, who lasted only a third of an inning. Odom walked 2, Knowles 1, and now Pena has walked a man. Well, a couple of games out in Oakland, California, and here last night have been long extra inning ball games. First time in 28 years that there have been extra inning ball games back to back. 6-1 the score. Stock has gone back to the dugout. Bando has given his signal. The men at first and second and 1 out, and Matlack steps in. Wayne Garrett is on deck. Pena has the sign. Fossey sets up low, and on the outside corner, it's where he throws. Ground ball toward Green. Tags Harrelson. Now throws to first in time for the double play. Green caught the ground ball, ran Harrelson back, tag him to on for the double play. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. We've gone through 5 innings, and the Mets lead is 6-1. Back in New York, Jim Simpson and Monty Moore. Before you step in here, let me step in and make a correction on a mistake I made. That fine double play was a plus by Kubiak. Green having been batted for him, Kubiak hit second base to make the play to end the inning. Jon Matlack, so far through 5 innings, has held the usually potent Oakland A's batting attack to only 2 hits, and that's got to be put in the category of an outstanding pitching performance. As Oakland is basically a right-handed hitting lineup, in a lineup that has a lot of power in it, and a man who hits the ball. Matlack has been outstanding tonight with his control. He's walked only 1. That's not really the true measure of control in the major leagues. Control is being able to throw your good stuff where you want it on the plate, not just over the plate. Joe Rudy, who came into the ballgame with 5 hits, looked like he might get 1 in the first inning, but his line drive was taken near the foul line by Staub, who was playing him perfectly, and then he struck out swinging at a curveball in the 4th. 0 for 2 tonight. Rudy leads off the 6th in the 6-1 ball game against Jon Matlack. Matlack throws high and away, ball 1. Well, Matlack has handcuffed the Oakland A's so far tonight, as Monty pointed out, and when you handcuff a Cincinnati lineup that includes right-handed swingers like Johnny Bench and Tony Perez, and of course Pete Rose, who bats both ways, you have done quite a job. Only Andy Costo could he not solve, and he got 2 harmless singles. Matlack said that's because I hadn't seen him before. 6-1 the score. Back with the fastball, swing and a miss by Rudy. 1 ball, 1 strike. With that big 5-run lead, there's an axiom of baseball that as long as you lead at least by 5, no matter who is on the bases, the tying run can never come to the plate. 4-run lead, you could load them up, and a grand slam home run, it's all tied up. As long as you got the 5-run lead, you're in no such trouble. And Matlack is pitching easily and blasts the fastball, but the miss is outside. 2-1 now to Joe Rudy. Barnard, a couple of left-handers, Vida Blue and Jerry Kuzman. Right now it's Matlack who throws the fastball and pops up Rudy. At second base, Leon says he has it and does for the first out of the 6th. In game 2, he pitched 5 1/3 innings and gave up 4 runs. Jerry Kuzman only lasted 2 1/3 innings, gave up 3 runs and 6 hits. So neither was that effective in game 2. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. Matlack with 1 out will pitch to Sal Band, who has walked and reached and scored after an error by Wayne Garrett at third base. Garrett, who later has made some great plays, and before that made some great plays, had an easy hopper just bounced out of his glove for an error. Bando reached, popped up, Brody comes back, near the seat, and it falls about 4 rows deep. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, you have to wonder the effect. It is true that the Oakland A's have squabbled all year. Everybody knows about that. Arguments that they've had on and off the field. Dick Williams, the manager, notes that, says we are a very colorful, controversial team. They've had squabbles with their owners. But this plethora of squabbles they've had in the World Series has been something that might take their minds off baseball. This pitch bounces in front of the plate. Reggie Jackson stating to the press and on NBC television he wants to be traded. Sal Bando leveling charges at Charles Finley on NBC Today's show this morning. People say they've heard Dick Williams say he's going to quit. There are rumors to come to the New York Yankees. And then there is the Mike Andrews story. Was he fired by Charles Finley or not? Andrews said no. Semi-pressured into signing, but there's been a lot of things going on. There's a strike at the knees, and Bando walks away, yelling back at Paul Fire. Well, that could be the difference between the American and National League. In the National League, you get that low strike, and that was low, too low, thought Bando, but Paul Fire's a National League umpire, and he calls it a strike. 6-1. Matlack taking a long time getting his sign from Jerry Grody. Has taken off one, is now ready for another. 2-2 to Bando, and it's inside that hard curve of Matlack. He does not have a slider. Describes it as a hard curve. He's to pull off 4 double plays, and that ties the series record for a 9-inning game. Down ball toward Harrelson, got to him in a hurry on the second out. A long throw, almost in the dirt, but dug out by Milner, and that's 2 outs. And that'll bring up Jackson. Struck out swinging at one of those Matlack Howard curveballs in the first and singled. Bando over to third base, set him up in scoring position in the 4th. Well, you often wonder also, looking past the World Series, with all of these statements being made, will the Oakland A's take the field next year looking the same as they do this year? Or will there be some changes? Last year there was a lot of arguing also. But very few changes, although one man involved in an argument with Dick Williams, the manager, Mike Epstein, was traded away. 1 ball, no strike to Reggie Jackson. Here's the pitch, down low, 2-0. In the last 37 innings now, that's not including this one, so let's make it 37 2/3 innings. Matlack has allowed 1 earned run and 16 hits. No earned runs in his last 20 2/3 innings of pitching. Outside pitch, Jackson fouls it off to the left. Jon Matlack, 23 years old, a big man, 6'3", 205. And since August, he has been just a tremendous pitcher, especially coming back after having that line drive go off his forehead, suffering a severe concussion, putting him on the disabled list. Mets lead by 5. Matlack throws the fastball fouled away again. 3 times now. Jackson has not gotten around on the Matlack pitches and has fouled him off to the left. 2-2. The wind, which has been alternately very high and then has calmed down to almost nothing, playing slightly toward left. Temperature at game time about 50 and was to go into the 40s. Drive to left field. Cleon Jones goes over to his right and takes the line drive, and that's 3 up and 3 down from that line. He continues to do it, doesn't he? No run, 2 errors, none left. We go to the last of the 6th. The Mets lead the A's 6-1. Well, as we go to last half of the 6th inning, here's the official paid attendance for game number 4 at Shea Stadium, 54,817, which has got to be good news to the players. This is the last game of the World Series in which the players share. They get the money of the first 4 games, and then the owners take over after that. Wayne Garrett leads off the 6th inning. He has been a tough out for the Oakland A's tonight. Started off that 3-run first, singling on a Holtzman fastball to right field. Pena throws, breaking pitch outside. Then in the second, Dando threw him out, but it was a close play. A top ball up the third base line that Dando made a fine play on to get him. And then in the 4th inning, he was by a pitch and later came around to score. Rusty Staub drove in his 4th and 5th runs of the night. Breaking pitch, check swing, foul back into the seats behind home plate. 1 ball, 1 strike to Garrett. With Felix Leon on deck. Leon hit the ball that Green committed the error on. It allowed runs to score. Leon himself has been in that same position in this World Series. 1 ball, 1 strike. Senior the sidearmer throws, and that almost hit him. Breaking ball that came in too close, but Garrett ducked away. 2 balls, 1 strike. On out our game time again, New York time, 8:30 p.m. Senior throws, fastball, grounded on 2 big hops to Kubiak at second base, was on to tennis, and there's 1 out in the New York 6th. And that'll bring up Leon. Punted his way on perfectly in the 1st inning, thrown out by Bando in the 2nd, and reached on Green's error in the 4th. At the time the bases were loaded, the ball was hit very shortly at the plate and back to first base, but couldn't hold on to the baseball. Mets lead it by 5 as Leon, who tilts up on the bat, considerably steps in. He is 1 for 3. Breaking pitch inside, swing, foul tip is play. Strike 1. Rusty Staub is on deck. All he has done is have a perfect night. Drive in 5 runs, home run, base hit, and has also walked. Strike 1 to be on. Senior now with the sign. Sidearm swinging strike. Again at a breaking pitch. Looks like on the inside corner of the plate, and it's strike 2. Senior is very tough to those right-handed batters. Drops down, comes in, breaking pitches, fastballs from way out in left field. Another ball drilled down to Bando at third base, and makes the long throw and has Leon. Ball was hard hit. Bando went over toward the line, dug it out, and threw him out. And here comes Rusty Staub. Staub had hit 2 home runs against Grinsley in a game here in New York. Was the hero of the Sunday-Monday games and then injured himself in the 4th game of the National League Championship, making a great catch, slamming into the wall at the 371 mark. Continued to play in that game, but barely got 3 hours sleep that night. So much did his shoulder hurt. Doctor said it was almost a shoulder separation. And Rusty did not play in the opening game of the World Series. First pitch from Pena to him was outside ball 1. He still does not throw well, but as Monty said, he swings the bat awfully well. Breaking pitch, slow curve, misses again outside. It's 2-0. A Rusty Staub. Senior is the 4th pitcher. Holtzman started. Odom, Knowles, and now Senior. Matlack is giving Tug McGraw and company a big rest tonight. The 2-0 pitch. Breaking pitch. Catches the outside corner for a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. The last night about this time, in a much closer game, many of the people had gone home. I guess they were unprepared for the cold weather. They came prepared tonight, and everybody's hanging around, even though it is 6-1 in the 6th inning. There's another line drive, base hit to right center field for Rusty Staub. Jackson comes over, and Rusty, with his 3rd hit of the night, holds up at first base. Now has 6 hits in the series, and has 5 RBIs tonight. Here's Cleon Jones. Green made a backhanded play to throw him out on the 1st. He singled in the 3rd and walked in the 4th. Jones has an RBI in the series. There are 2 out in the 6th with Staub at first base. And with a big 5-run lead and 2 out and only 1 on, the A's bullpen, for one of the few times in a situation like this, is idle. Wally Fingers has been worked as hard as Tug McGraw of the New York Mets. That pitch is too low from Pena. 1 ball. John Milner steps out on deck. Looking around at all of the signs hung out here by the Mets crowd, and really there are not that many of them. Maybe I can see a half a dozen or more. Usually the place is packed. 1 ball, no strike. Breaking pitch, and Jones fouls it off to the right, up into the mezzanine, where someone makes a pretty good catch. We have not seen the best defensive play. We've pointed this out before in the World Series. We've seen some excellent defensive plays, but much of the scoring has been allowed by a letdown on defense by both teams. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jones. Right field. Sending a loop back a few steps, and he takes it for the 3rd out. Jones, who goes that way, hits to the opposite field. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. We've gone through 6 full innings, and the score is 6-1, New York. With Monty Moore, Jim Simpson in New York. Team Tennis leads off a 7th against Matlack and takes a low pitch ball 1. I wonder if the 54,800-plus fans who are here tonight noted the significance of what the organist is playing between innings. It was California, Here I Come, meaning the Mets are going back to Oakland. Another low pitch from Matlack. It's 2-0. Tennis steps out. Paul Lindblad has begun to throw out in the bullpen now for the Oakland A's. Lithgow, Tennis leans back from a high inside fastball, and suddenly Matlack, for the first time tonight, has gone 3-0. He has walked 1 man. That was Bando. After Bando gave him a struggle, it wound up at 3-2, and on 4 pitches, Matlack has walked Gene Tennis. And that cost some gas and brings out Rube Walker, the pitching coach of the New York Mets, who will come out asking him how he feels, or perhaps he has noticed something he is doing. In any event, Walker is out for the first time tonight to talk to Jon Matlack, who's got a 5-run lead in the 7th inning. He missed at Tennis the first 2 pitches down low out of the strike zone, and then his 3rd and 4th pitches were up and in under the chin, on one occasion causing Tennis to back out. All 4 missed badly. Well, Walker trots back across the line now, heading for the Mets dugout, and Jesus Alou will come in. Alou is jammed and fouled out in the 2nd, slide to left in the 4th, and causes a lot of laughter on Black's slow curve balls by simply dropping his bat and lifting his left leg in the air and letting the ball drop over the plate. Alou, strong right-handed man, but not a power hitter. Matlack ready and throws him the fastball and missed with it outside. That's 5 he throws. And we have some activity in the New York bullpen. Matlack has gone 6 strong innings, giving up just 2 hits. Missed. Whoops, he caught the inside corner. Alou doesn't think so. Turns his back and walks away. That was the Matlack hard curve. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ready to throw again. Bouncing ball toward Harrelson. Short hop to close to second base. What a play! For the force out. Well, there's that shortstop syndrome again. The catalyst for all the action, the good action, had been partisan of the New York Mets and Campaneris of the Oakland A's. Harrelson charged the ball, took the short hop that inches off the ground, and in the same motion fired it over to Milner at second base to get Kenneth. That'll bring up Ray Fosse, who got his first hit after 11 tries, fruitless tries, when he singled left to start the fifth inning. New York Mets 6 runs on 10 hits, 1 error. Oakland 1 run, 2 hits and 1 error. We have 1 out in the 7th inning and a Lou at first base. And a left and right-hander in the New York bullpen. Changed on that and drops it right over for a strike. Be a bit surprised that Chuck McGraw isn't one of them out there. Strike one to Fosse. Sadecki is the left-hander. So McGraw is not out there because the other man's the right-hander. Buzz Capper looks like. We'll check it. 0-1. To Ray Fosse. Drive high, center field, toward left center. Hahn over near the warning track, taps his glove, and that's the second out. Harry Parker is the other right-hander. Ted Kubiak comes up for the first time tonight. He comes up with 2 out and a Lou on at first base. The wind has sprung up again on a chilly night in New York, and the weather is expected to be the same tomorrow, but the good news is rain is not in the forecast. Matlack throws and a sweeping hard curveball that catches the inside corner for a strike. Matlack looks over to Alou. Throws the fastball, grounded right back to Jon Matlack at the mound. The easy throw over to Milner, and he's out of it. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left. We go to the last of the 7th, and still the New York Mets 6, the Oakland Athletics 1. In New York, this is Monty Moore with Jim Simpson. Game 4 of the World Series. The Mets lead 6-1. They got 3 runs in the first inning on Rusty Staub's 3-run homer off Ken Holtzman. They got 3 more runs in the 4th inning, 2 of which scored on a single by Rusty Staub with the bases loaded. And now as we go to the last half of the 7th inning, here again is Jim Simpson. John Milner, who walked, reached on a fielder's choice and bounced into a double play. The batter. Curveball catches the outside corner. As a matter of fact, after walking in the first, when Milner reached in the 3rd on a fielder's choice, he bounced the ball back to the pitcher. And when he hit into the double play in the 4th, it was the comebacker to the pitcher. Milner has 5 base, slow curve, strike. Milner did or did not go around. He looked back, but the ball dropped over the plate for strike 2. Senior to the right-handers uses that fastball and that slider, breaking pitch. The left-handers, he has thrown Milner 2 slow curves thus far. Now Milner backs out as Senior took a long while. It's 6-1 in New York, and the Shea Stadium fans absolutely are eating it up. Another slow curve. This one misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So that is 3 breaking pitches that Pena has thrown to John Milner. Jerry Grody stands on deck. Hands on hip. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Comes in with another curve. Foul tip. Still 1-2. In looking around and trying to analyze what on before in the World Series, with a notable exception of Rusty Staub tonight, it has not been the outstanding pitching, the outstanding defense. As a matter of fact, defense is lacked, but perhaps Campaneris and Harrelson, plus the performances of people like Chuck McGraw of New York and Raleigh Fingers of Oakland. There's not been a dominating figure other than Campaneris and Harrelson. 2-2. Fastball, and it's foul down the third baseline. That's going to be back in the seats about 12 or 14 rows. Still 2-2 to Milner. And I guess when we do get to the deciding game, whether it be tomorrow night, Saturday afternoon, or Sunday afternoon, someone then will rise to the top as the World Series hero. They always pick a most valuable player. And a pitcher could wind up with it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 6-1, New York. Breaking pitch outside. Genius did pretty well with his slow curveballs to Milner. Got out ahead of him. Now he's been throwing fastballs and sliders and fallen behind. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody busy in either bullpen. Senior ready, drops down, throws the curveball, and he's way out in front of this slow curve and fouls it far down the right field line into the seats.
Jim, looking ahead out into Oakland, we very well could see a rematch between those 2 great right-handers we saw here last night, Catfish Hunter and Tom Seaver. Though Seaver likes 4 days rest, that would be only 3, but I would imagine they'd go with him.
Down ball, sharply hits the Kubiak. Takes the high hopper, waits for a moment, and then throws on to tennis for the out. That ball really came up in Ted Kubiak's eye. He waited for a moment for the dust to clear. He knew that he had the easy chance, and then threw on to get Milner. Here's Brody. 2 for 3 tonight, and has also hit into a double play. This is the man who was the GOAT last night with the pass ball, but he came back with an important single and then led off the 5th inning with a single. Don Hahn walks out on deck. We've got 1 out of the New York 7th. And getting up, something is going on down in the right field stands. Ground ball foul. Eddie Yost backs on it. Tries to one-hand it.
Like somebody stole some guy's, one of the vendors' peanut boxes, and they're throwing sacks of peanuts around free of charge.
They're flying everywhere, aren't they? Strike 1 that counts for Jerry Grody. Senior, the side-arming right-hander, throws a breaking pitch. It's down low, gets under Fossey, picks it up out of the dirt, and throws it back. A ball, 1 strike. Bags of peanuts is still flying everywhere down the right field line. I don't know if someone stole them or just bought them and is a philanthropist.
Peanut Cracker Jacks. I don't know.
1-1. Breaking pitch outside, and Fossey just did hold on to that ball. Two balls, 1 strike. Senior right back, and this curveball stays inside. It's 3-1. Well, Senior worked on Milner, got him to 3-2, and then the ground ball to Kubiak. Down to 3-1 on Brody.
That could get to be a messy situation if the Coke vendor decides to do the same thing.
Well, the security forces are now heading and being booed. Long drive, left field. Over goes Rudy, tripping a little bit on his way there, and it's a foul ball, and not by much. Joe Rudy, going to his right, looked as though he might have taken a misstep. Was thrown off balance, got there, but the ball dropped inches foul. Talking about the security force after what happened here in the National League Championships when fans stormed the field, tore up the field, broke down the temporary boxes, the New York Mets management put on a security force for this World Series of 1,000 people and said, we will prosecute any misdemeanors. So look out. Security forces are now on their way back, and we see no more peanuts flying in any direction. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Grody. Mets lead by 5. 1 out in the 7th. Senior back and foul. Bringing up the breaking pitch. The ball game, which was quite something for the first 4 innings in which all 7 runs were scored, has slowed considerably, and Pena's pace on the mound is very slow. And he throws inside, backing Grody out of there. And I do believe it hits Grote's bat again because he's not going to first base. The count is 3-2, and he's still standing in there. Could not tell. He backed out. Rusty picked up the ball, so obviously... You're ready. The crowd, you hear the roar of the crowd, is again for our peanut man out in right field. Breaking pitch, line drive, pass to second baseman Kubiak, base hit. Grote, who had his problems last night, comes up tonight with 3 base hits in 4 times at bat. And with 1 out, here comes Don Hahn, who is 1 for 3. And Rudy made a fine catch on his drive in the 5th inning, going to the wall 358 feet away. I'm not known as a power hitter, but really powered that pitch. Pena, slow worker, working now from the stretch. Sidearm, fastball, and swinging strike 1. To Don Hahn. Bert Harrelson squatting down on deck, swinging a bat from a position much as a catcher is in when he's receiving a ball from the pitcher. Strike 1 to count to Hahn. Grote leading off, breaking pitch foul back to the screen. It's 0-2. And Paul Pryor, the National League umpire behind the plate tonight, gets a new supply of baseballs. Vita Blue tomorrow night and Jerry Kuzman, a couple of fine left-handers. That's the one good thing about the Mets going against the Oakland A's. No matter what game it is, game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you always have exciting pitchers with great records going. Oakland has 3 20-game winners. Reaches out for that one. It's fair ball, picked up by Tennis at first, goes down to second after stepping on first, and the runner, Grote, at second. Not a force play at second. That ball was lined behind the bag. Tennis picked it up, stepped on the bag for the 1 out, and then fired down to second base trying to get Grote at second, but too late. 2 out now, and Grote has moved into second base, and that'll bring up Bud Harrelson with 1 for 2 tonight. And he has scored a run. He has also walked. And they're going to put him on to get to Matlack. First intentional walk of the night. Bobby standing there, left hand extended. Mets fans react predictably. Jon Matlack walked out on deck.
It's amazing, Jim, how few of these we saw during the American League season. That designated hitter rule, there is no pitcher to bat, so there's no reason to pitch around the number 8 man because you're going to have to pitch to a pretty good hitter in the number 9 spot, and it really seemed to add a new dimension of offense to the game.
Well, it may have hampered Dick Williams in his managing here in the World Series. Not to say that Williams has made right moves or wrong moves, but after all, when you go through spring training with a designated hitter rule and then 162 games of the regular season and then 5 of the playoffs, and all of a sudden you can't use the designated hitting rule, well, that could be trouble. But here comes trouble for the A's, getting a standing ovation, Jon Matlack.
Out the pinch hit for the Oakland A's, and the Shea Stadium fans are giving him a standing ovation. And he's wearing an Oakland A's uniform. For those
those of you who may not be aware, wherever you are listening in the world, it was Mike Andrews who signed that medical report that indeed he had chronic arm trouble, was sent home. The A's tried to get someone else to take his place. Commissioner Boykuhn said, no, sir, and you've got to reinstate Mike Andrews. He missed last night's game. He's here tonight, the cause of much publicity across the country, the object of nearly every newspaper man here in New York, and he's going to bat. 0 for 2 in the series. Matlack throws him a fastball, and he fouls it down the right field line. It'll make it back into the seats by about a dozen rows. Strike one to Mike Andrews. Well, I can't recall many stories like this in baseball, in the World Series, as the Mike Andrews. Strike one to him, right-handed batter. Big, tall, strong man. Played for Dick Williams in the 67 Red Sox team. Hard bounder. Cut off by Garrett at third base, and he throws out Andrews. And Andrews gets a standing ovation as he goes back to the dugout. 54,800 plus stand here at Shea Stadium to give Mike Andrews a standing ovation. And in the on-deck circle, as he goes by, Joe Rudy stops, puts his bat down, and applauds as he goes by. 6-1 New York. We're in the 8th. Here's Campaneris. 0 for 3 tonight. Crouching, swinging foul toward Rudy, who one hands it over in the on-deck circle. Strike one. Mets lead by 5. We're in the 8th, and we may be going back to California. Pitch to Matlack. Ball one, 1 ball, 1 strike. For if the Mets do win this game tonight and they lead 6-1, it does mean there will be a 6th game at least, and that would be played on Saturday afternoon in Oakland, California. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jon Matlack. Oh. Campaneris ran up to bunt that, was hit by the pitch, and the fans and Barrows coming out saying, hey, he was running up and ran into the pitch. And it is Berra, a National League manager, argued Paul Pryor, a National League umpire. And we'll just sit here telling you we know who's going to win. Gary Grody is now in the argument, along with Berra. Campaneris was running up to bunt that ball, and the ball hit him. It was inside. Now the question becomes, had he run out of the batter's box to be hit by it? Had he run into the way of it? And now Yogi gets a hand. And Paul Pryor gets the booze. The New York Mets, not considered a strong hitting team. The Oakland A's, who are considered a strong hitting team. The Mets have 12 hits tonight. The A's have 2, both singles. Rusty Staub has driven in 5 runs with a home run and a single. One of 2 singles he has, plus a walk. Matlack now ready. Campaneris on at first base. Pitches low to Joe Rudy. Ball 1. 1 out in the 8th. Don Hahn now backs up 4 or 5 steps out in center field. Rudy has hit some pretty good shots in this World Series. Hitless tonight. 5 for 16 in the series. Matlack back, throws an off-speed curveball. Strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. And now some of the fans, as we've hit the 8th inning, and temperature begin to leak. Campaneris with a good lead, but he's down by 5. Doubt that he'll be going anywhere. They want a big rally. This pitch is down low. It is 2-1. And again, that New York Met bullpen is busy. And again, it's a left-hander and a right-hander. Earlier, it was Sadecki and Parker, but now Tug McGraw has begun to throw. 2-1. Parker is the right-hander. Base hit between third and short, and stopping at second base is Campaneris. George Theodore out in left field picked up the ball as it went by Garrett and Harrelson. And we now have 2 on, and the crowd begins to buzz a little bit, 1 out. As Sal Bando could make this ball game a very close one in a very big hurry. Bando had 29 home runs during the regular season. The Oakland A's are still looking for their very first home run in this World Series. Remember last year, Tennis alone had 4. Campaneris down at second, Rudy on at first. Matlack throws. The pitch is too low. Ball 1. For defensive purposes, Theodore went into left field. Jones came out. Hahn remains in center. Staub's over in right. Swing and a miss. A sinking fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. In the 8th inning, and this might be the biggest chance that the A's get tonight. They've got 1 out and 2 on, and we're now to the number 3 batter. With Reggie Jackson. Drive out toward left field. George Theodore comes over and makes the catch on the dead run, losing his hat. The runners retreat to second and first base. 2 out. They call Theodore the Stork. And someone said, looking at him, he was put together by a committee. He is not the sleek-looking athlete you would expect, but George Theodore, also one of the disabled Mets during the regular season with a fractured hip, can play that outfield. Campaneris still at second, Rudy at first. Now 2 out, and Reggie Jackson up, and Yogi Berra out of the dugout, racing toward Jon Matlack to talk with him about Reggie Jackson. And the wind is blowing toward right field. Jackson, handcuffed last night, 1 for 3 tonight. Struck out at a Matlack hard curveball in the first, singled in the 4th, sending Bando over to third and line to left in the 6th. Matlack stays in, Barrett comes out, Jackson steps in, while Dee and Brody do a little groundskeeping around home plate. Matlack looks back, sees Hahn deep in left center, or right center, and Staub very deep in right. Reggie Jackson had 32 home runs during the regular year and grounds this one, however, toward Milner, who charges the ball, top plate, picks up, goes on to first base, got him. And bang play at first base. And Matlack is out of trouble in the 8th and might be out of trouble in the ball game as he'll pitch to the lower half of the batting order when we come back. No runs, 1 hit, no runs, and
well, the A's have a new pitcher. This is the 5th one of the night as Dick Williams still in managing through 11 World Series games, counting last year and this year, has not had a starter go the route. Paul Lindblad comes on now for the Oakland A's, and we pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Lindblad throws and just swings at the first pitch, strike 1. Starting off the 8th inning, back again with an off-speed pitch, breaking ball at strike 2 call. Lindblad in 2 games, won last night's game, has pitched a total of 2 1/3 innings, given up 3 hits, has not allowed a run. He has walked 1, struck out none. Comes on in the 8th inning with a 6-1 New York. Garrett waits and watches the breaking pitch stay outside and low. Ball 1, strike 2. Garrett to be followed by Milner and Staub. Swing and a miss, and Garrett strikes out swinging at a curveball. Strikeout number 2 only for the New York Mets all night long, and that'll bring up Milner, who has bunted his way on. He's 1 for 4, reached on a very big error in the 4th inning. In the top of the 9th, the A's' last chance to keep this World Series in New York. It'll be Tennis, Lou, and Fosse. Matlack gets them. We go back to California. The pitch to Milner's low in the dirt. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strike. 6-1, New York. Matlack has been superb. Line drive, flagged down by Bando at third base. Backhanded stab going toward the line. There are 2 out. And here comes Rusty Staub. Perfect night. RBIs, 3 on a home run, 2 on a single. 3 base hits altogether, plus a walk. Staub waits. The left-hander has a quiet bat, fouls the first one to the screen. Rusty's one of those players that other players describe as having a quiet bat. He stands in there with that bat absolutely motionless. Does not start to move it backwards until the pitcher begins to pitch. Contrast that, for example, with a Jesus Alou, who does a dance in the batter's box. Strike 1 to Staub. 2 out on the inside, 1-1. Theodore is kneeling on deck, the defensive replacement for Cleon Jones. Lindblad throws off-speed pitch, good-looking pitch, strike. 1-2 to Staub. Staub laid off that pitch, and it just floated over the plate as Lindblad changed. Lindblad ready, drops down a little bit, and there's a line drive. Look out into left field. He's got the perfect night. 4 base hits. Staub singles to left field. He came into the ball game with 3 hits. He has had 4 tonight for a total of 7. I don't believe it. Theodore comes up. Ralph Kiner has just whispered to me that ties a major league record of 4 base hits in 1 9-inning ball game. Among others, Joe Garagiola in 1946 did the same thing. I'm being ganged up on by Mr. Kiner and Garagiola. You both have your plug. 1 ball, no strikes to Theodore. Up the 1973 World Series in this game number 4. Ray Sadecki has come on to pitch for the Mets. Certainly not because Matlack had become inefficient. They just want to get Sadecki some work in the World Series here, it appears. Matlack was sensational through 8 innings, allowing only 3 base hits and 1 unearned run. The Mets, meanwhile, have 6 runs and 13 base hits off 5 different Oakland A's pitchers. This is Monty Moore with Jim Simpson at Shea Stadium, where tomorrow night it'll be Light of Blue against Gary Kuzman. New York Mets promotion director Arthur Richmond, sportscaster Ernie Harwell, and Major League Baseball players Doug Rader, the Houston Astros, and Mike Ryan of the Philadelphia Phillies will leave next week on a goodwill visit to U.S. troops in South Korea, Okinawa, and Far East bases, and they'll depart October 23rd and return on November 10th. Many of you listening in tonight, they'll probably be seeing you soon. This marks the 8th straight year that baseball has sent a group to visit our men overseas. And now to wrap it up, here's Jim Simpson.
Gene Tenace to face Ray Sadecki in a 6-1 ball game in the 9th inning. And check me, Monty Moore. No pitcher went a complete ball game in the 1972 World Series, and with Sadecki getting a little work here tonight, you can say that's also true through 4 games of 1973. Not a complete pitching performance. There's the strike to Tenace. Tenace tonight 0 for 2. And by the way, Gene has been walked on 4 pitches. The 2 times he's been retired, Bando and Harrelson each made a great play to throw him out. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sadecki throws. Line drive, base hit. Tenace reaches, and the Oakland A's are not gone yet. Sadecki gives up a base hit, and Alou is coming on. Mets leading by 5. And Jon Matlack, who, as Monty said, only gave up 1 unearned run, has retired for the night. Alou tonight, 0 for 3. Fouled out, flied out, and hit into a 4th play.
Low, 1. Lou. On those plays, of course, in which Tennis was thrown out, Garrett did the job in the second, and Harrelson in the fourth. Strike at the knee. 0-2. Jesus to Lou. San Francisco Giants, much of his career, about equally spent with the Giants and the Houston Astros. Line drive, Harrelson is right there, no chance for the double play. But Harrelson hauls in the Alou line drive. Sadecki hit hard again. Matlack now has 23 innings. His last 23 without allowing an earned run. In his last 40 innings, he's only allowed one earned run, a total of 4 runs and only 17 hits, and you'll probably see him again in the World Series, should we stretch out to the weekend. Upset Fossey. Fossey takes a strike at the knee. 1 out, Tennis at first base. Alou also hit the ball hard, but Harrelson hauled it in. Mets lead by 5. We're in the top of the ninth. Strike. Started to go around. Foul tipped off the bat of Fossey. He did not make a complete swing, but the ball picked his back for strike 2. 2 more outs, and the Mets have evened it all up at 2 games apiece. Back again. Overhand pitch, breaking ball down low, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fossey nearly went for that one. Fossey has not had a good series at the plate. He is 1 for 13, that base hit in this game. Another breaking pitch that misses. And he thought each of those was over. But it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fastball and strikes him out. Throwing those little breaking pitches. And Fossey jumping and then threw a fastball right by him. Now Baron Johnson will bat for Kubiak. This is the man that Monty described to you last night. Just had such a great year until he fractured a bone in his thumb and then fell way off. Line drive, base hit between Garrett and Harrelson. And stopping at second base is Tennis. And so now Dick Davalillo steps out on deck, and he undoubtedly will do the pinch hitting now. Davalillo has been up 6 times in the series with 1 hit. Johnson now, strictly as a pinch hitter, is 2 for 3 in the 1973 World Series. Mets have their 6 runs on 13 hits, 1 error. Oakland 1 run, 5 hits, and 1 error. And they're going to get their bullpen busy again, Monty. And that's McGraw. Here is Davalillo. Still 2 out. Now 2 on. And, of course, if they can keep it going, they go back to the top of the batting order. Sadecki, the left-hander. Throws, swing and a miss by Davalillo. Davalillo picks up that right foot, strides toward the pitcher or first base, swings, and that ball was on the outside corner, had no shot at it. Sadecki ready. Back, throws. Too low. 1 ball, 1 strike. $54,817, the official count tonight. Game 1 was won by Oakland 2-1. New York won the second 10-7. Oakland the third 3-2. There's a strike on the outside corner. And New York leads this one 6-1. Sadecki out front of Davalillo now. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Mets are no way. Sadecki from the stretch. Throws side on. Just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Davalillo. Traffic as we look out beyond center field. Heading out toward the parkways on their way home. They know this World Series is going to be going on for a long time. Too low again, 3-2. And now the A's are really low. 3-2 with 2 outs. But they're 5 runs down. They're going on 2 out, ball 4. He walks, the bases loaded.
Jim, it's just like Sunday. The Mets went into the last half of that extra inning leading by 4 runs, and the A's ended that ball game with the bases loaded. They just never seem to go down easily. I think the Mets have been the same way. In games they lose, they're just right in it right up into the last pitch.
Well, we're in the 9th inning, 2 are out. Dennis is over at third base. Johnson at second base. Davalillo at first. That's ball 1. The Campaneris, and now Berra comes out. 6 runs, 13 hits, 1 error for New York, 1 run, 5 hits, 1 error for Oakland. Yogi coming out, fearful that, gee, could this one get away from us? We lead by 5. Matlack was throwing very well, and Monty and I are guessing, and I would imagine we're guessing correctly, that Yogi just did want to give Sadecki some work. Matlack has been getting much of the work as the McGraw's been getting much of the work as the left-hander. They'd like to get Sadecki to get a little bit more. Well, Raymond has got himself into some trouble. Dennis led off with a single. Drive that Harrelson gloved. He did get Posse swinging a fastball. But then Johnson singled and Davalillo on a 3-2 pitch with 2 out to a walk. One ball, no strikes. It counts to Campaneris in the top of the 9th. Sadecki ready. Swing and a miss. 1-1. Campaneris looks down to Herb Norton, the third base coach, who waves encouragement, claps his hands. Sadecki working rather quickly. He's got the bases loaded. Off-speed pitch, drops over for a strike. Change up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And now again, Sadecki in the net to a strike away. Throw, strikes him out, swing. Mets win it 6-1. 5 RBIs by Rusty Staub. The 6th run is unearned, and more importantly, the Mets Oakland A's are now tied at 2 games apiece. Another game here tomorrow, and then it's back to Oakland, California.